Hey out there, all you fishing addicts, thank you so much for tuning in to another Addicted Fishing tutorial. We're here today with Shelby from Ross Outdoors Adventures, and we're gonna show you everything you need to know about getting out here and trolling up some walleye. So that is coming up next. All right guys, so to start out here, we're gonna have Shelby just kind of go over the full setup. Rod, reel, action, line, and then maybe we can go over a little array of different lures that you may put behind this setup when you're bottom walking. But we named this video, guys, the most effective way to catch walleye, because I think across the entire US, this is probably predominantly the #1 way guys are catching walleye, correct? This and plugs?
Well, forever, a jig has probably produced more walleye than any other method. Here in the Northwest, we primarily troll. The bottom walking has become more of a major producer in other areas that have traditionally just jigged.
Yeah.
But it's locally for sure.
And it works damn good. Well, let's get some arguments in the comments down below. Is it jigging or is it trolling? What works better for walleye? And we'll do that now. Let's go over, let's just go over your whole setup, man.
So 7'6" medium heavy rod. These rods actually were built, they're feather stick, which is no longer in business, and they were the best bottom bouncing rod at the time.
And so what's the action? So that's a 7'6", what is it?
Medium heavy, but it's got a light tip.
Okay.
8
to 17 roughly, okay, cool.
And you know, pulling crankbaits, as long as you can read the plug, you're good. You don't need to spend top dollar, you know, for the nicest rod and reel. Bottom bouncing, you need to be able to feel the weight touching the bottom, and you feel that fish biting. So you want, you know, sensitive is important, yeah. And enough backbone, you know, to handle the big fish too. Yeah. So 7'6" medium heavy. And
always a bait caster, right? You're very rarely going to use a spinning reel or rod.
So we used to fish leeches, and you would use a spinning reel with the bail open and your finger on the line, and when you got bit, you just open the bail and let them swim with it. Leech has been banned for, I don't know, 12, 14 years, so that's not a thing anymore. So these are Quantum bait casters. I have no affiliation with Quantum.
What would you say that's like a, I don't know, what series is that? Like what size casting reel is that, you'd say? Like a 100 size?
Yeah, 100 or 150.
Yeah, it's an E100, so it is 100 size. So something probably a little smaller, guys. You don't want to go to like a 200 or 300 because you just don't need it. 100 size has got plenty of braid, and you're just sticking with braided line most of the time, or you?
So the braid, you can feel every little bump. There's no stretch. I don't own any monofilament line. There's no mono in my boat. Mono lasts 2 weeks between the sun and the stretch and the twist. And so I literally don't own any monofilament. The leaders I use are fluorocarbon. And so it's braid.
So what pound test braid should guys be looking for?
I use 20 or 30.
Okay.
You don't need that heavy of line for the walleye, but because you're bumping on the bottom all the time, you get hung up, and that heavier line just helps you get some gear back.
Yeah, a lot of abrasion resistance, and the reality is now with braided line nowadays, guys, with the 8 carriers and all the braid, it's like even at a 20 pound, the diameter is just teeny.
Yes.
So you got plenty of line on there. Okay, so then you go to some bumpers. So you do have some flow. Oh no, you don't. You tie straight to here. So talk about this. What you got here?
My bottom bouncer is a little different than the traditional bent wire rig. It's on this slider, and that does a couple different things.
I like that a lot.
The fish, all they feel is your rod tip. They don't ever feel your weight because of that slide action. You can change weights, lighter or heavier, with just a twist. And the most important thing for me, rod storage. You can store a stack of these without a weight on them, and you don't have the tangled up mess that you do with the traditional bent wire bottom bouncer.
Makes a lot of sense.
So
I like that.
And with the normal bent wire bottom bouncer, you have to retie every time you go to change rigs because it ties direct to
let's show people, just in case someone out there is brand new to this and they don't know what a bottom bouncer is. This is all it is, guys. You got basically a piece of wire. And so the theory is this is kind of tapping bottom, right?
Yep, we just want that just tickling on the bottom is the idea.
And I feel like a lot of guys don't, sometimes if you drag it too much, that's not ideal.
No, your bait is laid over, dragging on the bottom. It doesn't look natural. It's picking up debris. It's hanging up. So exactly.
You want that just kind of ticking along the bottom there, guys.
Tapping on the bottom. Exactly.
And then, so this is a 3. What makes you decide your weight? Like how, if someone's out here and they're brand new and they want to go buy some, how do you know if they need a 2 or a 1 or a 3?
So traditionally, it's always been 1 ounce per 10 foot of water depth. And that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Except I cheat on the heavy side of that. It's just easier to feel the bottom. And what we're doing today, 3 ounces in the front rods, 2 ounces in the back rods. So they're fishing at a different angle. You just don't get tangled up near as easily.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then it looks like you got a little protector bead here.
Yep.
And now what do you got down to?
So I've got a ball bearing swivel that's on the, we got a snap there to unhook, and then an additional ball bearing swivel. And we have quite a bit of debris in our water. There's some algae growth this time of year. And so all of those different places to twist, just keep it from, if that gets fouled up, you end up with a twisted up mess. So, yeah. And it just helps the slow death spin. So
perfect. And then, so now you're to your leader. So fluorocarbon.
Fluorocarbon, 10 to 15 pounds. And I like stiff line. I want the twist of this hook, the spin in the nightcrawler, to translate up to that swivel. Otherwise, it starts twisting up.
Okay.
And I'll fish a bare slow death hook for a portion of the year. There's a couple weeks where we don't need any of these other things. And then I'm using 15-pound fluoro that just completely translates that twist up to the front of that swivel.
So what time of year and why would you not use, because we're gonna go over, guys, all the different setups you can run behind these bottom walkers. We'll pull a box out and just show a different array of colors and things that you can put behind the bottom walkers, but why would you only fish just a nightcrawler and not use any attractants or anything?
So post spawn, like I said, there's just this little window, and it probably also has to do with every boat on the lake is trolling a smile blade of some setup, and there's just a nightcrawler.
It's a little different.
And anything you put in front of the slow death impedes that spinning action. So the bigger the yard sail you put up there, the less it's going to spin naturally. So, and it's always post spawn, shallow water. The deeper we fish, the more important that flash of that smile blade is to me. And just the catch rate shows it. Early in the spring, pre-spawn, we're fishing in 40, 50 feet of water. You don't get bit much on something bare. You need that flash of that smile blade.
That makes sense. And so now leader length, what are you typically running for your leader lengths?
So water clarity dictates it, and the bottom dictates it. So the clearer the water, the longer the leader. Conversely, the rockier the area, the shorter the leader. So
that's a really good method to come up with. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna go over a bunch of different colors and different reasons as to why you'd use the colors, and then after that, we'll cut back to the smile blade and the hook setup. We'll show you how we rig the night crawler, and then show you kind of how we deploy trolling methods and all that. So stay tuned, that's coming up. But first, we gotta go over some patterns. Lucas has got a fish on here. What do you got on there, dude?
I think I got a small eye or something.
Oh my gosh.
it might be a new record.
Lucas caught the smallest fish in the entire lake.
You know, we were doing the tutorial. I had to put on my own crawler, and it looks like it worked. So.
That bodes well for the future. He'll grow up, and
catch him later.
2 more years, he'll be edible size.
Okay, so we laid out a couple setups here, and I thought it'd just be a good idea to just kind of, this is primarily 90% you're gonna fish a slow death hook with a smile blade. Almost always behind a bottom walker, right?
Yeah, and reservoir fishing versus river fishing, it's hard to make the slow death rig spin correctly in much river current because you're trolling with the current.
Yep.
So a lot of guys river fishing will use the traditional 2-hook rig instead of the slow death rig.
But still a smile blade for attraction.
Still smile.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I see you got a whole array of colors out here. Maybe just talk about the different colors and different sizes and give people out there some tips as to why you would put on different colors or different sizes in different conditions.
Sure. I don't have really a pattern. I have a trend.
Let
okay?
the fish tell you?
Yes, and you know, if you're going in blind, put one of everything out there, and whatever starts producing, you just start switching up your stuff towards that, you know, what's working. And if the day before, you know, 95% of your fish were on gold, well, I'm still not going to start with everything orange.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just trend and the network of people that I fish with. And I know Bob's got a lot more thoughts into why they're eating that color and so forth. I'd throw a dirty diaper if it caught fish. So I don't worry about, oh, you know, and I guess there's orange is obviously the crawdads. You know, when you clean the fish, you get some clues.
Get some ideas of what they're eating.
I'm kind of less concerned about the color. And it's like the crankbait fishing. Oh, we got to have this color. I think it's rare it's so dialed in that it's that color. But there's some days that it sure feels like that's the case. But I think more it's having the correct action. And now here, last couple of years, these new UV colors, like this is UV Glow Burst, Johnny Kendall from Devil's Lake, North Dakota, tells the Mack Slur guys, but once you came out with the UV Glow Burst, I don't even know why you make the other colors. And all his posts, oh, they were really hitting on Glow Burst. Well, he probably didn't even try a different color.
All he uses UV Glow Burst.
And it works.
Yeah. Well, I noticed this. I mean, I can just talk a little bit about today. It seemed like this morning we definitely, like early before the sun really came up, it seems like the golds were working a little bit better. But then as the sun kind of came up, it was more greens and chartreuses that were working better. So, Bob, I don't know if you want to jump in and kind of talk a little bit about why is that? Like, you see different patterns with different colors and different clouds or sunny or?
Well, you got to remember one thing. Depending on where you're at, you see the clarity of the water here.
Yeah, it's green.
It's green. So guess what? Your higher UV colors, like that chartreuse, putting that chartreuse on, using chartreuse is always going to be a game changer for walleye fishing. It's a mainstay, period.
Okay.
But water clarity, what type of day you've got, whether it's overcast, whether it's sunny, all of that plays into, think about what a fish sees down there. Early in the season, a crawdad pattern is going to be dark green, black, because they don't have a lot of color on them when they come out of the mud. They're dark colors. Versus your late season, you know, bright oranges and browns and different colors like that. You're trying to imitate what these fish eat. They're a predator fish. What we see and what they see is a little bit different. So different variations, different colors are going to look differently to them. So the fish are going to dictate what you're doing. But most of our product, virtually everything that we've got out here has been designed around forage bases. Yep. You've got small perch pattern. You've got another type of bait fish pattern, your shad patterns with blues and pinks and whites. Yep. You've got crawdad, small walleye pattern. So you've got stuff that basically looks like
something that they maybe eat.
Exactly. And is what you're doing is you're putting colors together. You're creating something that they're wanting to eat. And with all the different colors of smile blades, as well as sizes, you know, that's a big thing. Early in the season, you want to go to the small blades and stuff because everything coming out at that time is small.
Well,
later in the year, hell, there's guys that are fishing the 1.9 and the 2.8 inch smile blade for walleye because they want that big giant pattern. You know, like I said, what we see and what they see is totally different.
Which is why you make about how many different patterns?
Yeah, we got 67 different patterns.
Exactly.
And, different sizes, the whole 9 yards to create something that you want.
Perfect. Sweet. All right. Let's see how we rig this worm up now.
All right, one of the questions I get all the time is how in the heck do you rig those? You make it look pretty easy and people kind of struggle with rigging these correctly. So what I do is put the nightcrawler right in my bend of my index finger right here, just like that. Put the tip of the crawler right in the tip of the hook, and then just slowly start threading them all the way up the hook.
And you're just trying to keep that hook right in the center of that nightcrawler as you're pulling it up, right?
That's critical. Go up here just past this growth collar, pop the point of the hook out, and I'm going to slide the worm up over the knot, and that knot helps keep the nightcrawler on the hook. So when you're done, you should have half of the bend covered. If it's coming back up toward the point, it won't spin. If it's too straight, it won't spin. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. Stick it over the side and see how it spins.
Let's do it. Okay, so next step, now that we've kind of showed the whole setup, is talk about how to fish these things. How do you put it out? What speeds are you looking for? You know, when are you reeling up a crank versus dropping down? Just kind of talk about the whole method of getting this thing deployed and catching fish on it.
Sure. So 1 mile an hour is kind of the rule of thumb. Early in the spring, colder water, you gotta be slower than that. And you gotta kind of let the fish dictate what they want for speed. If I can fish 1.2 mile an hour instead of 1, you know, at the end of the day, I cover 20% more water. Generally, that translates into more fish. So I want to go as fast as I possibly can. Plus, the better your speed, the easier they hook themselves, honestly. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but still get bit. And if you're turning, just like fishing for anything, if you're turning and the outside rod's getting bit, you probably need to speed up. If you're turning and you're biting the inside rod, you're probably going too fast. You need to slow it down a click. So
Makes a lot of sense, okay.
So I got my smile blade rig there baited. I make sure that the leader is not wrapped on the weight so that swivel can spin freely. And that's critical because if it's wrapped around the weight, it's going to start twisting up and you're going to reel up a ball of mess.
So just like you would do for anything, guys, you're going to kind of reel it up, make sure it's all laid out nicely before you deploy.
Correct.
Cool.
And then with your thumb, push down on the button, control the spool speed, just nice and smoothly down to the bottom. If you just free spool it, the weight gets too far ahead of the bait, wraps up in a circle, and you're reeling up a yardstick. So I just dropped it to the bottom, and wait about 5 seconds, let out a little more line. The resistance of your line going through the water will require a little bit more line in it. So, and sometimes it requires a little more a third time, like that. There's the bottom, it goes slack. So I'm just bumping along the bottom. If you can't feel the bottom, drop the rod tip, line will go slack. And you know, with the depth finder, you can see if it's going shallower or deeper. We're 27 feet. Our speed's a little bit too fast. So that's why it's requiring more line to stay there.
Yeah.
When the fish bites, you got to force yourself not to yard on it. There's a bite, there's a bite, there's a bite. He's chewing on me.
Got bit instantly, guys. Like right as he touched bottom, he was getting bit.
So usually I'll wait about 30 seconds to see if he'll come back for the rest of the worm. Pull it up and check.
And this is where the rod comes in too, guys, because like he said, you really need to be able to feel the bottom. So like having a nice sensitive rod when deploying that setup, feeling that first tap of the bottom is really important. Because like you said, if you hit bottom and then you just keep letting line out, everything's gonna get tangled into a mess.
Yes. Chewed on the worm a little bit, but reusable.
So he'll show you guys one more time, guys. So it's basically, he's gonna put this thing in the water. He's gonna make sure everything is laid out nicely.
See that twist? It unwrapped.
And then he's just slowly deploying the setup with a little bit of light pressure on the thumb of the reel until he hits bottom, and then he's gonna crank it.
There it goes slack, there's the bottom. Wait about 5 seconds. And sometimes it'll stick, and that's that wire sticking into the sand like a lawn dart. Feel that pull, that's why it does that. A little more to stay there. There's the bottom.
And then he told us in the beginning, me and Bob most of the day have been holding our rods, which we've missed a few fish and that, you know, we're having some fun doing it, but realistically, it's better just to put these things in the rod holders, right? And just let the things fish, right?
As long as you are paying attention and adjusting the depth, but it's nice to hold it where you can feel the bottom and adjust
up and down.
Yeah. Otherwise, you know, if you're looking at the depth finder, you can kind of tell as well. But some people like to hold it. The rod holder slows you down. It gives that fish longer to hook himself versus, you know, human nature. You're getting bit and everybody wants to, you know,
yank it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That leads to reeling up a half a nightcrawler over and over again. So.
All right, guys, so there you go. That's the whole setup and exactly how to deploy these things. Now we're gonna have Shelby talk a little bit about what he's looking for, what he's trying to find when he's out here searching for these walleye, specifically when he's doing this method. So if you could tell the addicts a little bit and the people watching, like, what are the main things that you're looking for on either the fish finder or on the lake
Sure.
to try to find the walleye?
So this time of year, the lake is drawn down 17 foot below full pool. So all of the cover of spring, all of the willows and weed lines and so forth are all high and dry. So the only structure in the lake is these deep humps. Here's the topographical map And these are all just series of sand dunes. You can see where I've been trolling over this one for several days. And so you go up over a hump, shallows, drops back down into deep. That change in depth, the big up and down, is the only real structure left. That's where their bait is. That's where you find the walleye. The way the wind blew the sand for thousands of years, our prevailing wind is southwest. So you've got a sand dune. The west side of it is gradual. The east side of it is steep, almost like a cliff, because that's how the wind piled the sand. In the spring, they prefer that shallow side of the dune, the gradual side. And this time of year, it seems like they like the vertical side more. So.
Okay, so you've done everything right. You've rigged it up, you've got the right nightcrawler, you got the right gear, you're where the fish are at, now you get bit. What's the technique? How do you set the hook really quick, you reel into them, and then when you're fighting them, talk a little bit about like the technique for fighting them too, because I've always been told, and you can tell me if this is different, but I've always been told it's just a slow, steady reel, and if you try to really crank on them too much, a lot of times they come off. So maybe talk a little bit about it. It could be wrong, but talk a little bit about it.
So if you're getting bit, the walleye's chewing on your nightcrawler. As long as he's chewing, just let him chew. And that's why the rod holders are so effective, I think, is because it slows people down from getting the rod out of the holder. But if you have the patience in your hand, just let them eat. If they load the rod tip and your weight feels twice as heavy, the best way to set the hook to me is to crank the handle as fast as you can, 2-3 times. Each turn of the handle is 30 inches of line. It gives a good hook set, because the human nature on a hook set is, you're getting bit, and so you pull. Well, what do you do then? You go like this. And that slack backward is when they come off 95% of the time. So that's why I tell customers, just reel. And you don't have that chance to pull forward, and then human nature is to return to your normal position. So once the fish is hooked, just a nice steady reel. Just keep steady pressure on it. And it's not a race. Enjoy the fight. And I'll have customers keep the rod tip relatively close to the water, reel all the way up to the knot. Usually they freak out as they get near the boat. They'll pull a little line, reel all the way to the knot, lift, and into the net.
All right, addicts. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut and we're gonna show you this setup in action.
Fish on.
Nice.
Good job.
Yeah. Wow. Down the gullet.
This one's got some weight, guys. Do something good here, folks. Nice.
That is the big walleye of the day for sure.
There he is, folks. That's a good eater right there.
There's fish, fish, fish. Bluegill.
Smile blades catch everything. This is a giant bluegill. I can't believe it.
Large mouth.
Got him. Little orgy.
Oh, the reel is stopped. Nice walleye again on the smile blade.
Nice fish.
That's cool.
Nice one, dude.
Man, cool fish.
All right, everyone, thank you again so much for watching this tutorial. Be sure, please, thumbs up the video, drop some comments, let us know what else you want to see or what else you want to learn about. I will have Shelby's information linked down below. If you guys are for some reason in the area or in Washington, or you're traveling from out of state, give him a call. You can probably come out here and learn this in a little bit more depth in his boat if you want to do that. So appreciate everyone for watching. Appreciate you for showing everyone. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you guys on the river, or in this case, maybe the lake.